What's up everyone, I'm Callum on Toast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles in the Open Great League running a triple shiny shadow theme team. Now this technically also would qualify for the Halloween Cup, but we're going to be running it here in the Open Great League. I recently asked you guys which league you would prefer to see content in, and 80% of you voted for the Open Great League, so here we are. Now I know that recently I mentioned that I was going to be trying to push for Legend, yet here I am running a meme team, but this team's actually worked really well for me in the past, so we're going to see how it holds up in the current meta. The Shadow Shiftry was an MVP for me last time round. With that surprise nuke of Hurricane, I was able to flip a load of matchups up against Medishams and Scrafties and then get the alignment I needed to take the wins. We're going to see if I'm able to do that in this video. What I will say is that there are some crazy things that happen in this video and you probably won't be expecting it, but with that being said, let's get into the question of the day. Gonna be a different kind of question for today's question of the day, as I'm going to ask you how many battles do you think I was able to win in the two sets that I'm going to be showcasing in today's video. So that could be anywhere from 0 to 10. Let me know in the comment section below, and make sure you do comment before you see any of the battles. And with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so going into the first battle here, we lead into a Galarian Stunfisk. I'm going to safe swap into the Shiftry right away. My opponent stays in initially, and eventually they counter swap with a Medicham. Are they going to be respecting the damage from this Hurricane? No, and we one-shot the Medicham. We flip switch advantage here, and things are looking pretty good for us now. They're going to come back in with the Galarian Stunfisk. I'm actually going to shield in this matchup here. I want to pressure their shields. I know that the matchup up against Venusaur is a pretty close one, so I'm going to go for a Leaf Blade here. Actually, my opponent doesn't shield, and they also perfectly time their charge move there, so I don't get to another Leaf Blade, and they did overfarm just a little bit. I'm going to come in with my Venusaur now, go for a Frenzy Plant before they can get off a charge move, and Frenzy Plant gets the shield from this Stunfisk. I'm going to shield up here, expecting an Earthquake. It is the Earthquake, but my opponent is going to come in with a Sableye, and now things are not looking great. I'm going to swap into my Alolan Marowak here, catch the charge move. It is the foul play, but unfortunately that only gives them more farm here, and I'm not going to be able to get to two Frenzy Plants before this Sableye gets to a foul play, and from this range, foul play is easily going to be enough to take out my Venusaur, and I will be losing this first game here. So even though we were able to flip switch advantage there, Sableye was fairly strong against my team once that Shiftry did go down. Into next game, we see a Tapu Fini in the lead. We're going to safe swap into the Shiftry, and unfortunately we're met with a Skarmory, and because we're not running foul play here, we're not even going to be able to threaten a shield, because Hurricane doesn't do enough resisted damage, and we're only able to get to a Leaf Blade now, and Leaf Blade certainly won't be KOing the Skarmory there, and we do lose switch advantage. And as well, the Skarmory is absolutely loaded with energy. We're going to let the first move go through. We should be able to tank a Brave Bird. It is just a Sky Attack. They overfarm, allowing me to get to the charge move here. So Shadow Bone will be taking out the Skarmory. I'm going to swap straight away into a Venusaur here, because I know that they're going to come back in with the Tapu Fini. They're going to counter swap with a Galarian Stunfisk. So this is winnable, but it's going to be very close here. We go for a Frenzy Plant. We get the shield there. We're going to shield up this charge move. It's probably just going to be a Rock Slide bait, and it is. We're going to go for another Frenzy Plant here on a CMP tie, and Frenzy Plant should be getting the final shield from this Galarian Stunfisk, and we are able to. We're going to shield up here in this matchup. It is just another Rock Slide bait. We're going to overfarm here. They actually throw a charge move straight away. This is just a Rock Slide, but Rock Slide does massive damage up against this Shadow Venusaur, and we just don't have enough health to get this Frenzy Plant off and then get to another Frenzy Plant up against the Tapu Fini, and we lose that game there. So that was just a big misplay by me there. I should have just gone straight for the Frenzy Plant, because Rock Slide really does quite a lot of damage once they have chipped me with those mud shots over time. Here into the next game, we see a Noctowl, and this is a massive core breaker for the team. We're going straight for the Fire Blast. We're able to land it, which is perfect. I'm going to try and catch the next Shadow Ball, and I'm perfectly able to catch it on the Shiftry, except it's a Sky Attack, and yeah, we are looking to be in a really rough spot right now. They've got a Frost Slash still, and we're able to Hex farm down the Noctowl, but they've got a Diggersby in the back, and yeah, this is looking awful. I don't think there's anything I can do here. We're going to go for a Fire Blast here. That still doesn't do that much damage up against Diggersby, and even here going for a Shadow Bone, that's not going to do anywhere near enough damage to take them out, and I'm just going to concede the match there. There was nothing we could do. We are completely core broken by, well, not just core broken, but destroyed by Noctowl, and here we lead into another core breaker here in the form of Scrafty. It comfortably beats the Shiftry, so we can't swap out. They bait me with a Power Punch, which is awful. We're going to go for a Fire Blast here. I really need this Scrafty to no shield, but they do shield, and things are just looking awful for us. I'm going to let this move go through, I think. Actually, no, I'm going to shield the Foul Play. Can I get to another Fire Blast here? No, they're already at another Foul Play, and this is just awful. Unfortunately, this team is getting absolutely destroyed by everything. They're going to swap into a Trevenant here. We're going to counter with a Shiftry, but Shadow Ball, even resisted, does so much damage, it's ridiculous. We get to the back-to-back Leaf Blades here, expecting them to no shield, but they do shield, and because they got the Shadow Claw through, they're able to farm me down and then get to a Shadow Ball here up against the Venusaur. And we get destroyed by the Trevenant there, so another game, another loss. Things are really not looking good for me here. Into the next game, we lead into a Skarmory. Okay, they say swap into a Sableye, and things are looking good. We're actually going to go straight for a Hurricane here. I'm expecting them to no shield, but they do shield, and because we threw straight away, they got a full Shadow Claw through, and that means they're actually going to be able to outpace me to the next charge move here. We're going to shield up this charge move here. Hopefully, we can get to the back-to-back Leaf Blades before they get to the next Foul Play, because they've chipped me so much with the Shadow Claw damage that from this range a Foul Play will be able to take me out, and they do outpace me here. Foul Play does take out the Shiftry, and things are just looking really bad for me. I am horribly misplaying a lot of matches here. We're going to go straight for the Frenzy Plant on the CMP tie. We take out the Sableye. They're going to come back in with Skarmory, and now they've got a Swampert, and I should have known. Skarmory Swampert core, so common. I've not played the Great League for a while, and yeah, we go 0-5 in the first set, so things are looking awful. Can we turn it around? Probably not, because we lead into a Noctowl, and what is up with all these Noctowls? Noctowl seems to be pretty common nowadays, so that is unfortunate because this whole team gets absolutely destroyed by Noctowl. So anyways, we're going to go for a Fire Blast here, and we do get it shielded, and there's pretty much nothing I can do. I try and catch a Shadow Ball, they hold on to the energy. We're going to shield this up, hoping I can get to a Hurricane before they get to the next charge move, but I'm not able to, and that's going to be another game where we can't do anything. So this is going really horribly for me now. Can we turn things around and get a 4-1 in this set? We lead into an Altaria, so that isn't the best lead, but we do at least have some play against it, whereas against Noctowl it was very dependent on landing a Fire Blast. We're going to shield up the Sky Attack. They do throw straight away, so I get a full extra Hex through. We're going to go for a Shadow Bone. We actually get a shield from this Altaria. We're going to overfarm here, go for another Shadow Bone just before they reach the next Sky Attack. And my opponent does actually double shield in this matchup, so potentially they are very weak to the Marowak in the back, but I can't really shield there because Shadow Bone still wouldn't take them out. We're going to come in with the Shiftry here, overfarm a lot. They're going to go for a Sky Attack. I'm going to keep on overfarming, go for a Hurricane. My opponent catches it onto a Ferrothorn, so that's actually not so bad for me because Hurricane does massive damage here. We're going to swap into the Venusaur. And I'm not really sure what the second move could be. They actually just go for a Power Whip, which is double resisted, so I'm pretty sure whatever their other charge move is, it's going to be better than Power Whips, but you know, we've had an awful run so far. I will easily take this. So we're going to go for a Frenzy Plant here, and from this range it does take them out. We also have a Sludge Bomb loaded, so if they come back in with the Altaria, we're going to go straight for the Sludge Bomb here, and this should be enough to take out the Altaria. And they have a Galarian Stunfisk in the back. They're going to outpace me to the charge move, so I'm going to go for a swap, go for a Leaf Blade straight away. My opponent has to overfarm in this matchup, and I'm able to get to another Leaf Blade. Is this enough damage to take out the Stunfisk? Yes, it is. And finally, after 7 games, we get our first win with this team. But oh well. Into the next game, we lead into an Obstagoon, so yet another core breaker for the team. And yeah, like in the past, I've been able to play around these core breakers because they're not that common, but today, like, it's just not looking good for us. They even get a boost with the Night Slash, and it's a CMP tie on the Fire Blast, and at this point, they're boosted. There's no way they're not going to shield this, and yeah, there's just nothing I can do. I'm going to go for a Shadow Bone straight away. They actually CMP time me again, which is kind of good because they definitely wouldn't have shielded the Shadow Bone. They're going to swap into a Nidoqueen here. I'm able to get to a Frenzy Plant as they get to the Poison Fang, and Frenzy Plant goes unshielded, and we see a Skarmory in the back and we just lose there. So things are not looking good. You see here, I'm looking at my shiny Shadow Pokemon. I'm thinking, can I make any changes here that will make me a little better prepared? But honestly, if I go for the Venomoth, then we get destroyed by any flying type. So even though Venomoth has better matchups up against like Scrafty and Obstagoon, there's no way I can substitute it in here. So into the next game, we lead into a Surf Fetch. So this is a pretty good lead for us. Although, if they're running Night Slash, which they probably are, that's going to do massive damage in this matchup. We're going to go straight for a Shadow Bone after one more Hex. And Shadow Bone goes unshielded. We take out the Surf Fetch. They're going to come in with Bastiodon. So this is actually not the best matchup here, but we can massively outpace them in terms of our energy generation. So we get to a Leaf Blade here. We're going to get to another Leaf Blade on the CMP type with this Bastiodon. We actually get a shield here, so I'm thinking maybe they've got something like a Sableye in the back, which doesn't really want to see Shiftry, but I'm thinking 2 shields on a Shadow Venusaur should be fine, but they've actually got a Hypno. I've not seen a Hypno in so long in the Open Great League. It's kind of fallen down the pecking order in the Open Great League, but my opponent has one here, and we're going to swap. We actually get to the Shadow Bone here, and Shadow Bone does take out the Hypno, which is great. Can we get to a charge move on the Venusaur? No, we barely don't get there, but I don't think Frenzy Plant was quite enough damage to take out the Bastiodon anyway, and we do lose yet another game. And into the final battle of this video, we see Azumarill in the lead. Usually it's a double Ghost team, so I'm going to swap into Venusaur thinking Shiftry has a ton of play, but actually they've got a Skarmory and we can't even buy a win here. We're going to go for another Frenzy Plant, and Frenzy Plant double resisted, but we actually get the Skarmory really low and nearly into the red health, which is kind of crazy. Once again, we're just going to let the first charge move go through. If it's a Brave Bird, that's fine. We can still tank it, and it would allow me to take out the Skarmory a lot easier. Once again, they overfarm and allow me to get to a Shadow Bone. I'm going to come in with the Shiftry. My opponent is staying in. I probably should have thrown my charge move straight away because we were slightly misaligned there. They actually have a Diggersby in the back, which is a good matchup for Shiftry, but not when I'm down a shield because Diggersby is so tanky that it can actually tank a Leaf Blade quite comfortably, and the Snarls just aren't going to do enough damage. If we were running Bullet Seed, maybe we would be able to win this matchup, but as things stand, we're looking to be in a very bad spot. Fire Punch from this range is almost going to take out the Shiftry, even though it's such a weak move from a very bulky Pokemon. Shiftry is just made of glass. We're going to go for the Leaf Blade. Unfortunately, it doesn't take them out. They're going to swap back into the Azumarill. If we can land a Shadow Bone here, this will put them into range where I can take them out with a Leaf Blade, but unfortunately the Shiftry just doesn't have enough health. There's no way I'm going to be able to get to another Leaf Blade, and at this point that is going to be game over. They're able to Mud Shot, farm me down, and I lose yet another game. So that's going to be it for today's video. Unfortunately, only able to get one win in 2 sets running this team, so that might be my worst ever run in the Open Great League. I knew there were going to be core breakers to this team, I just didn't expect to see them on every other team that we faced, and as well this team doesn't really hold up as strongly as it has done in the past because Skarmory is a lot more common now that Walrein has been nerfed, so the Hurricane Shiftry safe swap doesn't really work because it often gets punished by the Skarmory. So yeah, the team not as good as it has been in the past. I'm not going to put it all down to the team composition though. We definitely misplayed in a few matches where we could and maybe should have won, but when things aren't going your way, you tend to make even more mistakes and things just go from bad to worse. But I've uploaded this video to show you guys that even us content creators that often upload some of the craziest wins you're ever going to see do have bad days, and this was certainly one of my bad days. So with that being said, let's get into the shoutouts from my previous video. So firstly, Lastly, we've got Ripley32 who says double nuke Nidoqueen. It's funny to nuke Crobat and Nidoqueen with Stone Edge and Earth Power. And I actually went one further and went for my shiny Shadow Nidoqueen, powered up for the Ultra League, and ran it with Stone Edge and Earthquake. And as a closer with a shield advantage, it beats 180 Pokemon in the Halloween Cup Ultra League edition and only loses to 2, which are Cofagrigus and Runerigus. So that is pretty insane. Unfortunately, I wasn't really able to make it work, but that was kind of to do with the Pokemon that I tried to pair it with, so not really faulting Nidoqueen on that one. It was kind of the other Pokemon that weren't really pulling their own weight. So yeah, unfortunately didn't really work out for me, but I think it's a really cool Pokemon, and on the right team this thing could be absolutely deadly. Next we got Rusty Shackleford who says, don't know if it's considered spice, but I would like to see Pangoro, and I definitely would consider this spice. I haven't seen anyone else using it in the Ultra League Halloween Cup, and I'm going to be honest, there's a good reason for that. It just loses to a lot of the meta. It struggles against the flying types like Crobat and Mandibuzz, loses hard to the counter users. Even Obstagoon can just 2-shield its way through that matchup and come out with a ton of energy. And as well, it does lose to the fairies very badly, even when they're not running Charm. And it also doesn't do very well against the poison types, so really it only has play against like Umbreon and Giratina, and even as a dark type it doesn't win against Dragon Breath Giratina. So yeah, it kind of just sucked for me, and I did run this on the same team as the Nidoqueen, and it is the reason why Nidoqueen didn't work as well, because Pangoro just wasn't able to win very many matchups. And finally we've got Lima who says, I've been running Shadow Tyranitar and Bisharp and it's a lot of fun, you should try it. Now that does sound like a lot of fun, of course very weak to counter, so I'm assuming you run something like a Crobat in the lead to make sure you hardwall those Toxicroak and Escavaliers that would run through that backline, but otherwise that does sound like a lot of fun. I'm not going to be trying it this Halloween Cup, but if the Ultra League edition does return in a future season, maybe that's something I will give a try. So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.